Lorea, qué gusto verte.
Got it. Okay. Welcome, Comadres. I'm Eileen Schleff, and along with Maria Ferrer, we're the coordinators of the Las Comadres Speaker Series. This year, we're gathering the incredible stories of Latinas who are breaking the mold in every arena. The interviews are recorded and are added to the Comadres YouTube channel. We are going to have the most amazing wealth of stories about Latinas. Tonight, we welcome Mexican opera singer Claudia Chapa. She's a versatile performer and has performed in opera houses across Texas, Florida, Alabama, Virginia, and in 2015, she debuted at Carnegie Hall in New York. As well as being an opera singer, Claudia is the first curator of Hispanic and Latinx programming at the Austin Opera House. She's also incredibly knowledgeable in a million different areas. Interviewing Claudia is Comadre Gladys Perez Mojica. A native New Yorker, Gladys is comfortable in front of and behind the stage. She has appeared on television, film, and theater. And I'm pleased to turn it over to Comadre Gladys. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Eileen. Claudia, so excited to chat with you. I'm going to open up here. Perfect. I got the questions. So the first question is, please tell us, how did you discover opera? What happened? Did you always know you wanted to sing? Or?
Well, I want to say hi to everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. It's on the Zoom. But anyways, how opera kind of happened to me versus I found opera. I immigrated quite young here to the United States, and we ended up kind of settling in Laredo, Texas. And I grew up listening to cumbia, tejano, norteño, hip hop, country music, just a whole variety of music. But classical was not part of my upbringing. So when we moved to the US, we happened to be in a neighborhood that was a little rough. So my mom thought maybe choir will be the easiest way to kind of distract me, you know? And it just kind of, I loved choir. I loved the community aspect of choir. And I, at the time, only spoke Spanish. And so it was a great way to transition to learn English in a very friendly way. And it was around this time, there was a huge kind of push to have immigrant kids not speak any more Spanish in class. So it was a huge push to just English. So music was very soothing during that time. And then when I graduated high school, I went to a community college. I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career, quite honestly, coming out of high school. And it's probably going to be a nurse. I went to community college and started kind of enrolling for all those classes, and I saw that choir was an option. So I said, well, I always like to sing. So I joined the choir, and there my music teacher, my music instructor, Dr. Crabtree, said, yeah, if I give you lessons, free lessons, will you take them? And again, I am a rep, my entire career in life has been doors opening and me going, yeah, I'll try. Oh, what am I scared about? You know, if my parents came to the US with little knowledge of the English language, I can join choir. I can take some lessons. They're number one brave people in my life. So I took the classes, and then turned out that I might have a little talent. I might have a little something, and I say it humbly. And then he introduced me to the music chair at UT, at University of Texas, and then had a teacher come down to do a master class with the community college kids. And she said, well, if you can get your grades to this point, if you can get this amount of financial independence, you can come. We can get you into UT.
Wow.
And I mean, but you have to take it seriously. Do you want to do this? And again, it was just a matter of, yeah, I'm going to try. I don't have, you're fine. I come from a very, I won't say poor is not the correct term, because, we didn't have resources. we didn't have those resources. So when I decided to move, it was like a big move. It was an expensive move. But it all just kind of opened up. I was there at the University of Texas taking my lessons and figuring out that I really do like to sing this type of music. I went to my first opera, and it was with Austin Opera, and I saw it, and everyone was crying. It was Bohème, and everyone was crying afterwards, and I was crying because I felt like I found something. Like this, I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm doing. There's no book, but I think I need to be doing this. It's an overwhelming, I know that you've felt it probably, that it's like, it's an overwhelming feeling of a calling, I suppose. I don't know. And that's how it happened. And I'm now 10 years into it, fully dedicated. And it's completely changed my life. I don't know who I would be, honestly.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that phrase. I don't know who I would be, because that's always a question, right? When you watch things like inside the actor studios, like if you weren't an actor or a singer or whatever, what would you be? And it's like, what? I don't know.
I have no idea. As human beings, we have the capacity to be anything we want to be.
Hmm.
Of course, resources and access gets in the way or doesn't get in the way. But
Hmm.
if it's not an option, if those things go and get in the way, we can be brave enough to try something completely different.
Yes. And you are. You have been and you
Yeah,
are. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I'm in it.
Yeah, yeah. You are the role model.
I
That's
blinked
amazing.
and it happened.
Yes, yes. Well, my next question is, who were your role models, and were there any people that were did you see any Latinas or Latinos? I mean, obviously Placido Domingo, but we all love him.
Yeah, actually, because I didn't grow up listening to classical music at all, like my heroes were Selena, my heroes were my
Mhm.
parents, my heroes were, you know, something that we were seeing on TV. I really didn't have heroes. And when I started this career, we have Victoria de Los Angeles, but they're Spain
Mhm.
based artists that are
Mhm.
now in the US. So they are Hispanic, but they're not Mexican. I
Right.
wasn't seeing these names that I could recognize. So when I was at the University of Texas, there wasn't a lot of Latinos there studying opera.
Mhm.
And so I always felt like I was taking up space in a situation that it wasn't designed
Mhm.
for me and my upbringing, not affluence, not growing up with lessons at 15. I'm a newbie at 25 when everyone has been doing this since 16.
Mhm.
So it was very intimidating and it was very lonely a couple of times because I couldn't relate. When you have someone that knows, when you have people that know your culture and understands your culture, you feel at home. But when you're in a completely foreign situation, financially as well as culturally, it was very daunting. So my
Mhm.
heroes were always my parents in the aspect of they were brave enough to just figure it out.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're my biggest heroes. They didn't know any English and they figured it out, and that's a huge accomplishment for them.
Yeah.
Um, so I can't be brave enough to do this. So they've actually been one of my biggest supporters, and anytime I feel like I can't, I'm like, I call my mom. My mom's like, "Échale ganas, mija," like just keep going. So honestly, my parents are my biggest heroes.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what was their reaction when you told them about opera and about singing?
Well, unlike most parents, okay, you know. Okay.
Serious. Yeah.
Well, look, when I went to the when I was going to Laredo Community College, um, they're like, of course, be a nurse. That makes sense. All of that makes sense. You're very warm. This is like a natural career for you, and it's stable. When I decided that I wanted to go into music, they're like, yes, be a music teacher. I love that. When then I decided to be a performer, that's when it was a full stop of we're poor, right? That we can't help you. Like there's like no financial way that we can help you
Mhm.
past this. And so it really was, if you want to do this, it's on you. It's on you. We're going to do as much as we can on this side, but it's on you. We support you,
Mhm.
but we don't know this lane at all. And if we're like, it wasn't super clear that it was going to happen for me. Let me just be very clear. Just because you decide to be in the arts doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a successful way of making money.
Yeah.
So in their head, like, okay, so we're not necessarily there. And now you're going into a career where we don't even know what's going to happen. So it was even more, I have to make this happen somehow. And if it doesn't work out, no big deal.
Mhm.
We're human beings. We're able to adjust, pivot. We did it during COVID. We're doing it currently.
Mhm.
We just found out about as a human species. So I knew I just was going to try my best. They were just scared for most of it,
Mhm.
but they had faith in me. So that must mean something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they must be super proud of you now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do they see you often perform?
They try to see me as often as they can. They're older, so if it's in Texas, they're going to be able to come
Mhm.
and see it. If it's
Mhm.
out of Texas, which some of my bigger things have happened out of Texas, it's a little more difficult for them to
Mhm.
come and see me. So, and now that we're streaming most things, they love it. They love it because they get to see things that they're more impressed now because they get to see me fully in like costumes and
Mhm.
acting with orchestra and the stage. They see it virtually. It's like, I think it's happening for my daughter. It's so great. Like, it's
Oh,
more tangible to them.
right, right. Seeing you in performance is that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So the next question is, what would you say to young women, future comadres, who want to be opera singers?
It's tough. It's tough. And that's just the arts.
Yeah.
It is beautiful because I think as children, most of us like to dance, draw,
Mhm. Right.
act, sing, play around, right? And somewhere along the line, we stop doing that.
Mhm.
It's silly and it's not adult like.
Mhm.
So already going into the arts, you feel a little like this is not an adult
Mhm.
event, avenue of going.
Right.
And then there is, to be honest, it is expensive to be in the arts because
Mhm.
it's like I like to call it like a garden. You're tending your
Mhm.
garden, you're doing your coachings, you're
Mhm.
learning your languages, you're, becoming a better musician. You're tending to this garden, but you do not know if it's going to be fruitful. And you
Mhm.
don't go into the arts
Mhm.
expecting to be fruitful. You
Right.
go into the arts because you really love it and you have to have an amount of discipline that maybe you didn't have before.
Mhm.
It's kind of really helped me as a person. But I will say that it's tough, but it's completely worth it. It's completely worth it when you find your lane, when you feel your flow,
Mhm.
and enjoy it as much as you can when you get to do it.
Mm. Mhm. Exactly. I have to agree with that as an actor. Someone is asking a question in the chat. They
Yeah.
want to know what city in Mexico were you born in?
I was born in Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas. It's northern. It's right next to Texas. So naturally, I was born there, stayed there for a couple of years. Then we went to Wisconsin. My parents were migrants, so they were working at the factories there. Ended up in Houston, then back in Laredo. So that gives
Oh,
you a trajectory of how that went.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that good? Let me look in the chat. All right. No, yeah, no more. Okay, so here's the next one is what is a day like for you as an opera singer? Like how long are rehearsals? Like is it an 8-hour day? Um, you know, warming up your body, all of that.
Well, it's a lifestyle, like
Mhm.
most things. I have to be hydrated all of the time, whether
Mhm.
I'm either misting or drinking water. We as humans should be drinking more water in
Mhm.
general, but I am drinking lots of water. It's a wet sport, believe it or not. Water is a huge deal for us. We have to be hydrated. So hydration is a big thing. You're going to always see me with like 2 to 4 containers of water, juice, electrolytes. It's warming up. For me, it's 30 minutes of pure warming up, to get the voice nice and aligned, to get my vowels nice and clear and crisp, to get my tongue completely down and out of the way. After that, then I do language study, which right now I'm working on Fricka. So I IPA it. IPA is an International Phonetic Alphabet. A lot of English second language, or if you're learning a different language on Duolingo, they use IPA. It's really, it's very intuitive to use. And IPA essentially is phonetically what it's going to sound like. So personally, I don't speak German, but I understand German and can pick it up, but I'm not fluent in it. But IPA will get me close to what it's supposed to sound like. And then I take that and listen to other people sing the role to kind of like familiarize myself, to make sure I'm in the right track when it comes onto the language. I do translations, because you can't just sing without emoting, and you can't emote unless you know exactly what you're saying. Right. So once I IPA it and understand how the word goes, then I translate it to understand what it means. I put the sentence together, and then how does that translate to me, and how can I emote what the sentence is in a foreign language? After that, then it's singing, to make sure that I have the line, because it's a rhythmic thing. It's math. Music is math a lot of the times. So I need to make sure that rhythmically I'm correct. If sometimes I'll schedule a coaching with a repetitor, and we just kind of go over the music, because I can just listen to it all day long and sing it here in my house all day long. But it's a very different animal when you're with a piano singing it out loud. You need that experience. It needs to come out of your body. You need to get your body used to saying and emoting these words. And then I try to wind down. If it's rehearsals, I get a schedule the night before. It tells me I am at their beck and call. I get a schedule. This is your day. It's actually really fantastic. I really love it, because it tells me what my day is like already. I'm like, okay, so then I can do this at this time and this at this time. I go to rehearsals. We do a scene or two, because you learn all this music prior to showing up to rehearsal. It should be memorized and fully realized. Then you go and sing with everyone, and you put all the pieces together, which means like if it's a scene where there's a lot of dialogue and there's, conflict or love, that has to look organic. It has to look real. So there's a rehearsal to make that happen. We just listen to each other and figure out what's this is more, we actually be doing this in this scene. And a director comes and kind of, they either micromanage all of it, or they let you flow and they kind of fix it and clean it up. Then you also are dealing with a conductor to make sure that you have the music correct. They'll know. They know the score more than anybody. So you have to really be kind of, perfection isn't ever the goal, but correct is the goal. So it's a lot when I'm rehearsing. I don't have a lot of time to do other things when I'm in rehearsal mode.
Wow.
It's kind of the cliff. It's a lot. It's a cliff notes on that. It's a cliff notes.
Well, it's a commitment, and it is a lifestyle, as you say. It's, there's full buy-in on your part to be able to do this. So
Yes.
That's what it is, and that's the advice. That's what we need to tell people. Tell us about your work. So you have this amazing opera career, and now you got this really cool job as curator of Hispanic and Latinx programming at the Austin Opera. So what's your mission with this?
Well, it's a very exciting time for Austin Opera. They've always been a community conscious opera house, but now they're completely committed into reflecting the audience that powers Austin. If you go, there's a huge indication that opera is elitist. And it can be, and it has been, but that's why I'm here. And that's why we need more gente in opera, because it's not elitist, it's for everyone. It's unfortunate somehow we translate it that way. And so the big push is to reflect the community that powers Austin, that we, us, instead of like, let's say, a mostly Caucasian, cast. We're going to mix it up. And also that also means that we're investing in Spanish language programming.
Mhm.
which has not been done here in Austin Opera, and it's a shame. So we're now pushing forward toward that, where we're going to put on Spanish language opera on the main stage, which is very exciting.
It is.
And I get to be a part of that initiative. We also do concerts at the consulate where we bring
Mhm.
artists over, and we try to feature mostly Mexican composers or Latinx composers,
Mhm.
mixed with what they sing and operatic repertoire, to just kind of show the diversity, but mostly the singers'
Mhm.
range of expression and music storytelling.
Yeah.
So besides that, and so next year we're going to start this initiative. We have a Waterloo concert that's planned in April, and it's a very exciting partnership that I cannot announce just yet, but we're very excited about being able to be part of bridge building.
Oh, beautiful. That's amazing. And what is your work with the I think you work with schools as well? Within
Um, Excuse me.
within schools, like you do arts education programming that's opera based
Au-
as well?
Austin does that. I don't. I'm mostly
Oh,
about programming and
oh.
casting. There
Mhm.
is a music ed department here. We just had a
Mhm.
new hire, and she's about to be introduced to the whole city, and so we do music ed as well. It's
Oh,
available to that. I do music healing on the side as well.
oh, okay. What is that? Will you tell
I'm
us?
a Yeah, I'm a music healer. Besides doing opera, I'm an opera singer full time, and I also work with Austin Opera with the programming.
Mhm.
On one of my like beautiful, I think the most. I won't even dare to say the most rewarding. I'll dare to say it because I think it deserves that. I get to work with the Lullaby Project with Austin Classical Guitar. My husband is a classical guitarist, and that's how I got the introduction to this
Oh.
program. Yeah, and what they do is started off at Carnegie Hall, and what they do is that originally it's the Lullaby Project. So we pair up with parents, mothers,
Mhm.
depending, and we think of a cool lullaby to write for their kids. Either they're expecting or already had them. But what's really great is that Austin Classical Guitar has really opened that up to hospice,
Mhm.
to women that have been incarcerated, to local clinics. So we offer that service to a wide variety of people in Austin
Mhm.
to use music to express themselves. As music healing artists, we don't lead them, we just
Mhm.
offer different opportunities for them to use the words that they have inside them, write
Mhm.
them down. Let's make lyrics. Is that what you would like to say? Great. Now let's put that to music. How do you want that to sound?
Oh.
So it's a really great opportunity. At the end, they have a fully mixed, composed song,
Mhm.
lullaby, and we give it to them, and it's for them to show off if they want to. So it's one of my more rewarding things I get to be a part of.
Wow, that sounds really profound and just so meaningful,
Yeah.
right? Because it's something that can be passed down. That's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
I advise anybody, if you ever feel like there's a huge imbalance, because look, I will tell you that the arts have a tendency to be very me centric, and of
Mhm.
course, how can we not be me centric when I have to learn all this music,
Mhm.
I have to make this role fully realized, dimensional, multidimensional character, right? So I mean, it's just a lot of me.
Mhm.
It's a lot of me thinking, how can I, and career, what can I do? If you ever feel an imbalance in your life, volunteer time somehow.
Mhm.
I know it's hard because it's if we're not working, we don't want to be working. We want to just relax. But if once a month, if you can go walk a dog at the
Yeah.
at the shelter, these things kind of really balance you out. So if you have the ability to give your time to help someone else, it's the biggest gift. That's
Mhm.
humanity. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing that we can do. So
Mhm.
I always say, if anybody ever wants to do that, I hugely encourage you to do it.
Yeah, that's great advice because that is, isn't that the best advice too when you're sad about something, go help someone else and that will help you, it will help raise you up too. Because when you
Yeah,
help raise someone else up, you raise yourself up and, you know, what is it? A rising tide lifts all boats. So if you rise the tide,
Yes.
everybody goes up. That's so cool. And so that actually makes me think of the next question is about you refer to opera as a whole community. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, if you're, so how can I explain it? We are a bunch. To be, well, it's like actors, right? There's a community of people, and you
Mhm.
know your people. You know, opera as as a community. I mean, you are the singer, and then there are the people that come and appreciate the art form.
Mhm.
We can't do it without the other at all.
Yeah.
So people that go to the opera is part of this community. Singers that go through their paces and are in this career, it's a community. It's a very vast community, but it's small, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense. After a couple of
Yeah.
years, you know who's
Yeah,
singing,
you know your
you know that,
people.
you
Hmm.
know your
Hmm.
people, and you know people that are active, avid supporters because they make it known. And
Hmm.
that is the most beautiful thing. I love it when someone says, I saw that show, it was great. And it doesn't have to be even me. I'm a stranger on stage singing for people that I sometimes don't know. I'll go to cities that I don't know anybody and have somebody come up to me and say, I really enjoyed your performance. That's amazing. That it's like, was it you clapped, fairies get their wings and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you. So it's a community. It's the people who go and support. It's a lifestyle, really. It's a whole evening. They go to dinner, they come and see the
Mhm.
show, they talk to their friends. I saw this fabulous show. And sometimes these supporters turn into donors, turn into board members.
Yes.
So that's what I mean with community. If that
Mhm.
makes any
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, it totally does. We had an outing recently, and we went to see a cabaret show, and it was just so nice. And we ended up seeing people we knew. Maria was there, and some other comadres. And so, yeah, it really is a community. Like if you go as a spectator, you're still part of the community with the singer, who then we chatted with and took pictures with, and he was like, "Las comadres," So
Um,
it was very
yes.
cool. Yeah,
There
it's
was,
just a
there
nice
was
thing.
Is there any questions that are we? I'm sorry.
No, no, we have a couple more, and then we can open it up to the
Okay.
members. Yeah. So here's one about work-life balance, because you are a curator by day, opera singer by night and day, and a wife and mother to two chihuahuas. So how do you establish balance in all of that?
I make time. I think before the pandemic, I will be very honest with you. I was 100% always an opera singer and was always kind of debating on when the cutoff time. So, like, yeah, if it's dinner time,
Hmm.
you want to do dinner, but then I'm also on the internet or studying because
Hmm.
most of half of the time I'm studying. It's independent studying for life for
Right.
me. Um, and that was an issue. It was becoming an issue actually with our marriage because you have to make time for each other. We're both in the arts, but doesn't mean that we don't communicate.
Hmm.
So now I make time. I have a schedule during the day where I rehearse and practice, and then my admin work. And then by 7 o'clock, I have to do normal human things like let's
Hmm.
get this dinner going. Let me I'm gonna turn off my brain for a little bit. So I in my in the way of relaxing, I am disciplined about it as well. I allot time because
Hmm.
creatives have to have time to do nothing.
Hmm.
It's most of us have ADD or other things or undiagnosed, so we're constantly boop 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 thinking about the next thing. Creatives need time to rest, so I make time to disconnect, like put the phone away,
Hmm.
put it all the way away on not disturbed for 2 hours. Try it, it's really great, then you forget about it and then you have all these missed texts. So that's I'm active on it, and I'm in therapy and I promote therapy 247. I think it's the best thing ever. I happen to have the resources for it, which is another thing.
Hmm.
um, Having resources for therapy is a real issue. I've allotted my time. I've adjusted my life so I can have therapy because I can't expect my husband to be my full support when I'm kind of
Hmm.
juggling too many things and very stressed. I get a therapist for that. And also mental health. So why not? It helps me out. If I'm helping other people out, but I'm in distress, why not have somebody help me out? It's just
Right.
a continuous circle
Mhm.
of helping. So I make time.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, because you have to fill your cup before you fill anyone else's. Yep, most definitely. So tell us about your goals and dreams going forward in these two careers and how you see things panning out.
Well, I think for me as a singer, a goal, I want to have a long career. It's not really about the flashiest thing for me. I want to be someone that is a mentor to people who do not have resources. At one point, I would like to maybe get a scholarship going because I think that's really important to help underprivileged singers who don't have the resources. I myself had someone donate. I mean, if it weren't for her generosity, I would not have this career. And that is the honest truth on that.
Mm.
My parents were very clear they weren't going to be able to help me. And I was already working as an elderly healthcare provider
Mhm.
while I was in school. So I was earning to pay my bills. I couldn't also earn to pay for my lessons, to pay for my coachings, to pay for
Mhm.
trips to audition, because I'm not sure how it is with the actor circle, but for singers, when you're young, you have to pay to audition.
Tell
You
us
send
about that because I did hear that once from someone years ago and I was flabbergasted. Tell us about that a
okay,
bit. Yeah.
quite a lot of things. As a young artist,
Uh-huh.
you're auditioning for these companies. They have they have this thing called YAP Tracker, Young Artist Program Tracker.
Mhm.
You have
Mhm.
to pay for that. It's about $50 last time I paid for it. So that's $50 out of your pocket for a year subscription. Once you're in, you have all of these applications that you fill out that you want to audition for their program.
Mhm.
Each application will range you a 25 to $55.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
with that said, you also have to put in your materials, which is recordings, that costs money.
Mhm.
Resume, you have to learn how to make a resume. So that means a program that's like
Mhm.
computers, that's all this stuff, all these resources, right? And then you send it out and then you wait to see if you can audition.
And then if they say you can audition, you have to fly yourself. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Fly yourself, look good and correct. Okay, so if you are someone who do not have that doesn't have the resources, it's an
Mhm.
impossible career.
Yeah.
So it probably wouldn't have happened for me if it weren't for someone that said, I'll sponsor your first trip. I'll sponsor your first audition things. If it weren't for that
Mm.
person, these are when I say that my life has been opportunities, people who have said, let me take a chance on you. And I say, yes, please. I have it. I can try. I'm going to do my best. I don't know
Mhm.
if I'll succeed, but I'm going to give you everything for this. Um, so if it wasn't for her, I mean,
Mhm.
Bonnie Fielder, rest in peace. Um, she funded my first year of auditioning, and if it weren't for her, I don't think I'd be here. Honestly, if it weren't for all the mentors and all the people who have invested in me emotionally, even financially, as well as artistically, I owe my life to them. I owe my where I'm at. That's why I love community
Mhm.
um, initiatives, because I'm essentially with low key a
Yeah.
community
It took a
initiative.
village with you, and now
It
it
took a
takes a village with
village.
everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. So in the future, I think a scholarship would be like my biggest dream, to be able
Mm.
to have that going. Um, Artistically, and admin, to make spaces for people who don't have those resources.
Mhm.
It's a huge gatekeeper money.
Yeah.
you know it's a huge gatekeeper, and I would like to be in the position to be able to give people the opportunity that wasn't allowed or wasn't there for them.
Mhm.
As a human, I just want to see more diversity on stage. I want to see more diversity all over the place, and I'm not just talking about brown and black. I'm talking about age. I'm talking about bodies. It's
Mhm.
all around. We should be reflecting the audience members to come and see us.
Yes. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Um, well, speaking of the audience members that come see us, tell us, and this is the final like prepared question, right? Um, what was it like to debut at the very first place where you fell in love with opera? You debuted at the Austin Opera, and that's where you saw your first opera. So what was that like?
I think everyone is, I mean, this is gonna sound superstitious, and we're just gonna go with it. Um, there are things that happen that kind of affirm
Hmm.
where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
It might not. It might be coincidental. I mean, I'll even give it that. But to me, I kind of like will look at things like that as it's affirming that I'm in the right path somehow. You know,
Hmm.
I went and saw my first opera. I loved it so much. Then I went to school there, and not knowing how I joined their chorus. I thought maybe that would give me proximity, but it turns out no, that's a huge difference between chorus and guest artist.
Hmm.
And then worked really, really hard to just be very good um, and consistent. And then when I got my first role with them, it was like a stamp of approval for me. It was okay, if I can get this one job, then maybe next year I can get another job. And it has worked out that way. So I instead of affirming, life affirming, and to get this position, I mean, I've been in this company's family for 10 years, but it has had different management. So even with the shift in management, I'm still part of this family. So it doesn't say it's like a favoritism thing. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like
Hmm.
it's a person thing. It's because my work is reflecting my promotion or my
Yeah.
position. So affirming, I think, is a good word for me.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. We're going to go into the chat questions because there are a few
Yeah.
of them. And Nidia wrote, what would you like the general public to know about opera?
Um, that it's for everyone. I say that, but I say that so forcefully, and I shouldn't, because not all music is for everybody. Not everybody likes country music, and here it is. But I'm going to tell you what I want people to know about to to kind of go in is you're going to be entertained. It might not be your style, but you will be entertained, and it will be different, and to give it a chance.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, another question, Eileen, how do we introduce opera to the unknowing community? Okay, so like,
Programming. It's if you're in a school, you make the request. I mean, if you're a parent, if you're in a school, you make a request with Austin Opera, and we will go and present a whole presentation. We'll go over kind of like 3 to 4 uh, eras of opera. It's similar to what we're doing, which is doing the concerts at the consulate. We bring it to
mm,
them.
mm,
To them is, what does that even mean to them? You know what I mean? It's
mhm.
taking opera outside of this, like, you know
Music hall.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
yeah, and taking it to for lack of a better term, the streets. I hate that term, but taking it to the streets. No, it's just making it available. It's opera houses investing in their community and making programming that is accessible to them. Like FYI, like this Waterloo concert that's happening in April, that I can't give too much information because it hasn't
Mhm.
been too fleshed out. You know what I mean? It's work stuff, but we're planning to make it super accessible to everybody. So exposure is what I would
Yeah.
say.
Okay. Uh, I like that. Sorry, I'm seeing all the rest of the questions. Okay, I'm gonna ask one more question and then we'll just open it up because uh, people want to ask you themselves. So, which is
Oh,
it's
great,
fine
great,
by
great.
me. Is that fine with everybody? Is that fine? I'm fine with that. Um, so here, what do you think that some of the best, who are the best opera singers right now, and are any of them Latina in the U.S.?
Oh, Eileen Perez is one of, like, oh, she's amazing. She's beautiful. She's Mexicana. Nadine Sierra. I'm also, oh God, give me a second. What's her name? She's amazing. She's amazing. I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, and I apologize, but I can definitely make a list and get it back to you, whomever sent that message to me.
Yeah, it was
But
Judith. Yeah.
Judith, I'm gonna tell you, but Eileen Bettis. Yes,
Yes, I
Cecilia
know.
Coleta, she's amazing. I love Cecilia.
Mhm.
Vanessa Becerra is someone that I really love. Efrain Solis is a singer that he's on the younger end, but he's really up and coming. We have actually I won't say a good amount because there was a huge chart that came out about the diversity hiring that was happening. Like, it was like a pie. It's with the Asian Opera Alliance. And we were on the lower end of Latinos being hired in the industry. But there's a solid 20 of us here.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I didn't know there were so many. Okay. I've
Yeah.
only seen one opera in the last 10 years, so I have to do better. I have to do better. It was I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, this is not my interview. This is your interview. The last oh, Nidia has another great question. Nidia, you want to ask it about singers from the past?
Yes, I was just wondering, is there any singer from the past that you would like to sing with? And where? Where would you like to sing?
That I would like to what?
Sing. Like maybe do a
Sing.
duet or yeah.
With any singer, living or dead, right? From the
Yes.
past. Yeah.
Well, honestly, one of my biggest mentors, Minyan Dunn, she's 85 now. I would have loved to sing with her when she was in her prime, because she's someone that I've learned so much from. So it would have just been amazing to see her in action. Um, yeah, I've been able. I mean, Jessie Norman, right? She's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
She's a dream.
Hmm.
All of these like luscious or demi goddess, mezzo, soprano kind of voices I love. Yeah, I think Jessie Norman or Minyan Dunn.
Beautiful. Eileen wants to know if do you want to ask Eileen or about the traveling opera program?
Happy to do that. Are you going to design a traveling opera program to open people's eyes and experiences?
The program that we're kind of trying to establish is actually one of cultivating new compositions, because right now the opera canon is mostly European based. And so what we want to do is invest in Latinx and Hispanic composers to make more music. So where we're not going to be taking something on the road, we have our opera to go, like our education department. They kind of really take the lead on that. But a lot of opera programs do offer, like ourselves, there's a couple of concerts that are happening out in the community. Like Opera Delaware right now, they travel and do concerts in different parts of Delaware. It's actually an initiative that happens with most companies where they do outside concerts or community concerts. Full productions are a little harder to do because of the finances. We're going to be very honest.
Thank you.
I think Judith has a question.
Yes, thank you so much, Claudia and Gladys and Hola, and all the organizers. I love opera. Opera is so important in my life. It's all the time in my soul. I am listening all the time opera here in Ciudad Juárez, Mexico, on in the radio. but I was listening your voice in your website, and it's amazing. Your mezzo-soprano voice is incredible. Thank you so much. I was very impressed about how Eileen Perez, Cecilia Violeta, and yourself came from a Mexican backgrounds, and you are Mexican. And I was wondering, what is the best advice that your mother and your father was giving to you to continue with your career?
I mean, échale ganas, mija, is like on the top. It's the top. But I think most of the advice always came down to it's temporary. Whatever discomfort, whatever obstacle, it's temporary. And you can't control, sometimes you really can't control what's around you, and you just have to kind of go. I think as gente, I don't know, most people, I hate to generalize, but I'm gonna say for the most part, Latinx and Hispanic people, we're very resourceful. Most people are resourceful, but I'm just gonna make it about this for a second. I think we're very resourceful. We're given limes and we make limonada. You know what I mean? We figure it out. We try to make it work. We survive. Um, so it wasn't necessarily verbal more than steady. It's temporary. You can figure this out. If it's undoable, then it's okay. We walk away and we sing another day. But everything, every discomfort, every roadblock is temporary.
Do you have siblings? How large is
I
your
do.
family?
I have two older brothers. Both of them are in the army. And I have a younger sister, and she's studying to be a librarian.
Oh, very cool. And do you do research as well, like when as curator?
I have to. I have to. I have my own amount of knowledge, but I have to do research. When we were looking at how many Latinx composers are current right now and are producing opera, you have to go and look for them. The particular American canon of repertoire is mostly European based, with the exception of Daniel Catan, who is our guy. Daniel Catan's music, beautiful. Please find time to listen to his beautiful, beautiful music. Rest in peace. Um, so you have to research. It can't just be Daniel Catan. There has to be other composers making music, like Hector Mienta, Carlos Lucero, and these are American-based Latinx composers. So we haven't even started on MX on
Oh, okay.
America. So we constantly have to do active research on it. So and I'm always open for somebody to give me suggestions, so then I can go down that rabbit hole of
Right.
figuring out that composer and their complete works. So yes, I recently, when I was just researching, song composers, Modesta Bor is someone that I just found out about, and her catalog is beautiful and amazing.
Mm. Oh, wow. Yeah, so Maria just put Daniel Catan's page on in the chat for everyone to
Yeah.
take a look at. So, well, thank you. I'm looking to see. I don't think I missed anything here.
Um,
Um,
uh, can I ask?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
I was looking in your calendar, Claudia, that you are singing, I think, a opera in Spanish or a Mexican opera. I was wondering if you can speak a little bit about this project with us.
El Milagro del Recuerdo, that one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
El Milagro de Recuerdo is mariachi opera, which there's 3 to date,
Oh.
completely composed. Yeah, and it's about. I'm new to this whole thing because it was composed like 10 years ago. Mariachi opera, what they've done is, I think, is Javier Pepe Martinez and Leonard Folia together composed this beautiful, and I'm gonna tell you, it's beautiful. A Cruzar la Cara de la Luna. You have some time, please look into it. It's really a beautiful, powerful piece. And so that's the first one, Cruzar la Cara de la Luna. And it's about immigration, but mostly it's about families making decisions to elevate their family. It's like it's the immigration story and how neither are good or bad. They're just decisions we have to make, right? The one that I'm part, El Milagro de Recuerdo, is the prologue, which means the one that happens before. And to be in an environment, now I'm just going to talk about being in an environment of both classical, like European classically trained singers and amazing classically trained mariachi players and singers. The energy in the room is
Ooh.
amazing. When we're having to translate the Spanish to the non-Spanish speakers in the room, I've never been in an environment where Spanish is the one language versus English. At least here in America, I have never been in that environment. It's the most beautiful experience to be with all of these Spanish singers. We all learn music very differently, very differently. The mariachi singers versus us. Ours is more like notes
Right.
versus they're more like just tell me what it is and I can get it, which is another really high level of talent. It is one of the best experiences that I've ever been a part of. I'm so happy to be a part of this production, El Milagro de Recuerdo, and it will be in Houston this fall.
Wow. I wish I lived in Texas right now.
Yes, Bertha. Okay, so Bertha, I loved hearing, yes, the one in Houston where the prologue to Cruzar, if you've seen it already.
Okay, Texas Comadres are going to Houston. We just
Yeah.
need the dates.
Houston.
You better.
And I play the mom. I play the mom to Cecilia Duarte's role, which is Renata.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't. So have you've debuted at Carnegie Hall, but being in New York, I can't wait for you to come to New York, and I hope you let us know.
I will definitely.
Yeah. Okay. This is the last question, but what is the question? Does anybody want to? Oh, Eileen is asking for you to go to Washington, D.C. So you have requests now. Your next tour is New York, Washington, D.C., and ¿a dónde más? Okay, anything else you want to tell us? Because I don't have a Ciudad Juárez. Judith,
Woo! Well,
yeah.
I just want to thank everybody for making the time to listen to me kind of ramble. I want to thank you, the Comadre community, for offering this interview. I humbly am in the position that I am. If anything that I can do to help, to connect, I'm here. And I'm just continuously in gratitude for the amount of support that I've received.
Well, I feel honored to have this opportunity to offer you these questions and to interview you here. And it's been such a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to pass it over to Eileen now, who's going to close us out.
So first I want to thank Gladys for a great interview. And I'm sorry I didn't know you when I lived in New York. There'll be chances in the future. Comadre Claudia, you made me fall in love with what can become of opera, how it can become part of our lives rather than this separated. And we do, I have to tell you, every year in DC, we have Nationals Park, which is the baseball field, turns into an opera gallery where we watch on what's going on at the Kennedy Center as we eat hot dogs. So I look forward to seeing you in real life experiences and telling great stories in opera. We thank you so much for a wonderful interview and for a beautiful life. Next month, Comadres, we will have on August 31st, Elvira Gonzalez. She's an author, teacher, and professional track and field coach.
Wow.
Visit Las Comadres website for a full story about her and what she's doing, and also to learn about Las Comadres. As you know, you will be fully prepared for the next spokesperson's program. Maria sends out incredible amounts of wealth, and we hope that we see you soon again, Claudia Chapa. And look forward to seeing the Comadres in August. Good night, and thank you so much for your continued support of Comadres, Las Comadres para las Americas. And hope to see you all soon. And that you will take advantage of our YouTube archives, because there's wonderful stories like Claudia there. Gracias.
Gracias a todas.
Yes,
Claudia,
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. If there's any other questions, I'm on Instagram, my website. Anyway, please reach out. I'd love to answer you. And again, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. This was awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Muchas